First question you got to ask yourself is, do you what? Do you what? First question we got to ask ourselves, if we're going to discover the leader from within, if we're going to discover the vision from within, is we got to first ask ourselves, do I know who I am? Now, if you look from a leadership scholarly standpoint, they will call this term self-awareness. But really, self-awareness is really knowing who you are. And so the question now becomes, number one, do you know what your strengths are? Do you know what your passion is? Do you know what your values are? Do you know what your intuitive intelligence is? Do you know what your emotional intelligence is? Do you know what your personality is? In essence, the first question we got to ask ourselves, if we're going to discover the leader from within, and if I'm going to make an impact in the world, is, do you know? Do you know thyself? Now, Joshua, why is this important? Well, the first reason, as many of you know, it's important, is because there were very smart people that got together, some at Harvard and some at Stanford, and they came together in 2007, and they asked themselves a simple question. They said, what is the number one leadership skill set to develop in emerging leaders? And according to the Harvard Business Review, the number one in 2007 was self-awareness. They believe that if you're going to be an amazing leader, if you're going to make an impact, if you're going to emerge, you've got to first of all know who you are. And the reason they said you have to know who you are is because when you know who you are, not only do you perform better, not only are you more excited about life, not only do you set yourself up for success, but most importantly, you set yourself up to become a more effective leader. Say leader. Now the question that becomes, Joshua, how do I set myself up to become a more effective leader? Well, the first reason why is because when I know who I am, I know what I should do and I know what I should not do. A lot of people go through college and graduate college with degrees and are frustrated with their jobs because they never discovered who they were and did not allow this moment in college to enable them to position themselves for success. See, when I know who I am and I know my gifts, there are certain things I won't even consider as far as majors are concerned. Because I know I'm supposed to go here and not here. But if I don't discover myself, I start getting frustrated with professors. I start getting frustrated with school. I start getting irritated with myself and trying to figure things out because you never ask yourself the question, who am I? Second reason why it's important is because when you know who you are, you surround yourself with better people. I have a book called 50 Questions Before You Say I Do. And one of my questions that I address to people is, do you know who you are? Because when you know who you are, you know who to surround yourself with. One of the keys to being an effective leader is being able to surround yourself with the right types of people. And if I don't know who I am, I start selling for less in areas I should not be selling for less in. This is why Les Brown says, and I quote, he says, show me your friends and I will show you your future. Another guy says this, he says, your network is your net worth. So the people that I surround myself with have a direct impact on where I'll be in the next 3, 5, and 10 plus years. Some of you are dealing with people you should have cut off a whole year ago. You get on the phone with them, you get on Facebook with them, you talk to them, they irritate you, they bother you, they bring you down. It's like every time I talk to them, oh my gosh, get all this pressure. Sometimes you gotta say, get out of my life. You gotta just let them go. Because you'll find when you surround yourself with the right type of people, you surround yourself with the right type of thinkers, you surround yourself with the type of people that believe like you believe, they make you better. Third reason why it's important is because when I know who I am, I become more confident. Why? Because in each and every one of you, there is greatness, there is ability, there is amazement, there is such something special about every individual in this room. And so the more I discover myself, the more I discover my value, the more I discover how awesome I am, the more I discover how amazing I am. But the problem is we allow others to define us instead of us defining ourselves. Some of you are living based on what someone else told you versus what you believe about yourself. Some of you are living on the negative words of your family based on who you are as an individual. And so what happens is we have low self-esteem and we're not reaching our fullest potential because we're listening to what other people say instead of listening to who we know we are. Because guess this, there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be jealous people. There's always going to be people that are going to talk about you and are going to try to bring you down. As a matter of fact, let me just say it real clear. The more successful you become, the more haters are going to come out. Always happens. So if I'm going to be confident as a leader, I got to know who I am. And the fourth reason I want to say important is because when I know who I am, I make better decisions. Say decisions. Decisions. When I know who I am, I know which way to go, and I know which way not to go. When I know who I am, I know what job to take, and I know what job not to take. When I know who I am, I know what organizations to join, and I know what organizations not to join. When I know who I am as a leader, I know what leadership positions to say yes to, and I know what leadership positions to say no to. In essence, when I know who I am, I actually make better decisions. And this is why Betty Chill says, and I quote, she says, your innate strengths will lead you towards success. And the reason why she says this is because she understands that once the human being discovers who they are and they begin to follow who they discover who they are, they said the human being will always be led into success. So if you ever want to ask yourself the question, how do I succeed? Number one, discover who you are. And then number two, begin to follow based on who you are. And you'll always ultimately discover success. Now you're saying, okay, Josh, sounds good, good theory, sounds very scholarly, but how do you know this works? Because I can actually tell you my life. I actually have a story to tell you. And the story goes a little bit like this. I was 19 years old, and some of you have heard this story. I was 19 years old, and I had this aspiration to play basketball. And I was really good, and I'm still really good. And my man from UCF, he knows that I'm going to take him to the hoop one day, Dominique. Okay, so I had this dream to play basketball. And I was 19 years of age, and I'm trying out to play at Long Beach State University. And so I'm here, and I'm working out. And in high school, I averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. And I'm here, and I'm working it out, and I'm getting ready to make the team. But I had a huge disappointment. The disappointment was the coach said, Joshua, you missed the team by one person. Wait a minute. I've been having this dream since I was 6 years old to play professional sports, and in a matter of 1 hour, everything changed. Imagine your whole life, you've been pursuing this dream, and in a matter of moments, it changes. What happened? Well, during that time, I had an interpersonal communications class. And I had never given a public speech ever in my entire life. And they said they wanted me to come there and give an inspirational speech. And so I give this speech, and when I give this speech, I discover a gift. Say a gift. I discovered I had a gift of photographic memory. I never used notes, didn't even look at notes. I just had this ability to remember things. And not only having a bit of new thing, I just happened to have a gift to speak that I didn't even know about. And so obviously I get up there and I have this memory. I don't have no note cards. First speech ever. Boom, boom, boom. A+. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm like, cool, I got an A+. And if anyone is smart about school, you know, if you get an A in one particular major, I'm going to take another class in that same major. And so I took a debate class. And so I get in this debate class, and we're doing debate. And in this class, I'm 7-0, never lost. You know, so I'm like, okay, cool. We got a passion. I'm good, man. We rolling right now. I said, man, I need to start talking. And so I was part of this organization on campus, and it was my first presentation ever. And so I get up to speak because, you know, I have this communication. I have this skill set. I'm 20 years old. Let's go. And I get my first presentation, and 50% of the audience is in tears. At the age of 20, 19 years of age, my epiphany moment has just hit. I just realized that I'm about to become a motivational speaker. Why? Because I discovered my gift. I discovered my passion. I discovered what I would do for free. And I wrap all that into making an impact in the world. Sign me up. Here we are. And so I have this vision of being a speaker. And so I'm pursuing this career. Now understand, there's no path. There's no major. There's no mentor. I don't even know how in the world I'm going to become a speaker. As a matter of fact, I sometimes blow myself away. How am I here talking right now? Had no idea. And I want to say that because I want you to understand that you may get a dream that you may not know how it's going to happen, but don't let that stop you. Sometimes you got to start moving, not knowing how it's going to work out for it to work out. So this is where I was. And I started getting connections, and people started coming into my life. And I dealt with rejection, I dealt with failure, and I had to persevere, and I had my sentimental moments, had my moments I was ready to give up. I had all of that transpire, but I can sit here today and tell you that 7 years later, 8 years later, traveled to 43 different states, traveled the country speaking. As a matter of fact, I wake up every morning doing my own business, ain't got to work for nobody, because I discovered who I was. Oh, it's a good story, yeah. Now, someone say wisdom nugget. Say wisdom nugget. I'm going to give you a nugget that'll help you so much that you should write this down. My business started to prosper in a bad economic time. I have increased every year as a speaker when the economy and people are losing jobs. Now you're saying, why are you saying that? I'm saying that because I learned something in my journey. And the lesson I learned in my journey is this, that when you do what you're supposed to do, and you're faithful to it, man, I feel this, and you're diligent to it, things have a way of working out. Wow, man. See, oh man, okay, I gotta get out of it. When you know who you are, there is stuff set up to happen in your life when you're doing what you're supposed to do. I told some audiences a couple months ago, I said there are certain opportunities you won't even be aware of until you become aware of yourself. Say it again. There are certain opportunities you won't even become aware of until you become aware of yourself. Because opportunities are always lurking around you, but sometimes we miss them because we don't know ourselves. That's what I found is, as I start doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I focused on that, and I stay committed to that, and I stay diligent to that. Yeah, I got challenges. Yeah, I got obstacles. All this stuff happens, but at the end of the day, things have a way of working out. I have experiences that would blow your mind. I have things happen to me, and I meet people that say, yeah, it happened. They're like, it's never happened to me before. Happens to me all the time. I'm used to uncoincidental experiences. I'm used to meeting people on accident. Why? Because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, do you understand? Opportunities are looking for me. Why? Because before I was born, all this stuff was created for me to manifest. But it can't happen until I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So it may look dead one day, but you start doing what you're supposed to be doing, and all of a sudden it becomes fruitful. Why? Because you discovered who you were, you know who you are, you're confident in who you are, and you're walking in who you are despite what others say, despite what challenges come your way. You stay diligent, and boom, next thing you know, you'll be like, how in the world did I get here?